Hey everyone! This is part 1 of the underwater cake with sharks, seaweed and corals that I made. In this tutorial I'll show you how I filled and stacked the cake, how I covered the cake with ganache, how I carved the cake and enjoyed a piece of it, and lastly how I placed all the modeling chocolate decorations on the cake. In part 2 of the tutorial we'll transform this cake to look like this, with fake water and illuminated in different colors. The link in the video description already has the full step-by-step tutorial with pictures. So let's get started. You will need to place the cake on a transparent acrylic cake board. I made the chocolate cake with 4 layers of moist chocolate cake and 3 layers of whipped chocolate ganache with walnuts. See the video description for all the ingredients and recipes used. Spread a bit of chocolate filling in the middle of the acrylic cake board. Place the first chocolate layer on top, moisten it with simple syrup. Spread a thin layer of raspberry jam and pipe the whipped chocolate ganache with walnuts filling. Repeat the steps for the other layers too. Ensure the cake is leveled. You might need to press down on the side that is higher to help move the frosting around and level the cake. I covered the cake with unwhipped chocolate ganache, which is a firm frosting made out of semi-sweet chocolate. Again, the link to the recipe is in the video description. Your ganache needs to be cool to the touch and have a thick pouring consistency, like peanut butter or Nutella. Crumb coat the stacked cake with a thin layer of ganache. Refrigerate the cake for 1 hour. Use a serrated knife to carve out a semicircle. Mine had a depth of 4 cm and was 15.5 cm wide and as tall as the cake. That's about 15.5 cm. The best part of this cake is that you can enjoy a piece of it before everyone else does. And trust me, it's delicious. Clean the part of the acrylic board that's visible with a wet paper towel. Apply a thick layer of chocolate ganache and smooth it out using a spatula and a cake scraper or smoother. If your ganache becomes too stiff, place the ganache in the microwave for 5 to 10 seconds and stir with a spatula. Don't use all the ganache, save about a quarter of the chocolate ganache in which you will add black oil-based food coloring to make black ganache. Refrigerate the cake for 30 minutes, then apply the last layer of black chocolate ganache and smooth it out very well using an offset spatula and the cake scraper or smoother. Once smooth, the little ganache that's left over the edges can be taken off with a sharp knife. Make a bit of unwhipped white chocolate ganache as well by following the instructions in the recipe provided in the video description. Spread it on the carved part of the cake. Then gently dab a folded piece of paper towel on it to give it a rougher look. I applied very little chocolate ganache on the part of the acrylic board that's visible. Note that you should have clear parts on the acrylic board, not covered in chocolate nor decorations. Otherwise, the light you will place under the cake board will not pass through and will be useless. I made all the underwater decorations, the shark, the seaweed, rocks, corals, using homemade modeling chocolate and silicone molds. You can find the recipe for the modeling chocolate and some of the silicone molds I use in the video description. The process to use the molds is pretty straightforward. You need your modeling chocolate, you press it into the mold, you use a blunt blade to remove the excess, as if you use a knife you might cut your silicone mold. You let the chocolate harden and then carefully take it out of the mold. Note that for the second version of the cake, I made the decorations using fondant to test out how they hold under the fake water made with gelatin. I would not recommend using fondant as the decorations start melting away and dripping out of your cake. Place all the underwater sharks, seaweed, rocks, corals on the cake. You can attach them with a bit of melted chocolate. Again, know that you should have enough clear parts on the acrylic board, not covered in decorations, otherwise the light will not pass through and you won't have the illuminated effect on the cake. That's it for part 1 of this tutorial. Check out part 2, which will be posted shortly. Thanks for watching!